Welcome to it. This is another installment of Tea, Talk and Tissues, and I'm your host for tonight once again, Ayanda Ncwane. In South Africa, sadly, 1 out of 4 women are physically abused by their alleged partners. In recent events, women throughout South Africa had held hands and stood up to say no to the abuse. Also giving awareness to the incident, such as of the recent Zamo Dlamini. This was not the first incident of its kind, and surely it might not be the last. Here's another story of a similar situation to Zamo story, shared by one of the brilliant, beautiful ladies that we admire so much from our screens. She's a wonderful person, a mother, a daughter, and mostly a musician. Let us welcome Nomzamo Dlamini. Nomzamo.
Hi.
Can I call you Zamo?
Yes, you can.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Baby girl, you are from Swaziland.
Yes. The kingdom of Swati.
The kingdom of Swaziland. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. The kingdom of Swaziland. A beautiful girl from all the way from Swaziland. Tell us about your childhood.
My childhood, I grew up in a middle class family, went to an all-girls Catholic school from like grade 1 to matric.
Oh wow.
And so my love for music basically started when I was 15. I was exposed, I was already in the industry at the age of 15.
Wow.
I recorded my first demo, went to work with a couple of people
beautiful.
in Mpumalanga, DJs here and there, you know.
Wow.
So my childhood was very beautiful because I had a supportive family. My family has always believed in me. From a young age, from as early as 6, I knew exactly what it is that I wanted to do.
And what you wanted to do,
Yes.
which does not happen in our communities.
No, because everybody wants you to be a doctor or a nurse or, you know, a lawyer. So if you say you want to be an entertainer, to them it's like, we're not sure. It's not going to put food on the table.
Of course, with our color.
Yeah. So I mean, my dad is a vet. My mom was a clerk. So it was almost like, what is this child doing?
Yeah.
You know, she's supposed to.
They wanted you to be academic.
Their footsteps. Yes.
Of course. Like, how was the reception when you entered into the industry?
I think in a sense, when I did enter the industry, as much as I had support from home, but like you were saying that you're in a space where you're moving from Swaziland, you are coming to
crossing
South
borders,
Africa.
yes.
You are literally alone. You have these brothers who are telling you that they have your best interest at heart.
Of course.
But really, obviously, people just want to make money. They just want to make music. Okay, what can we do?
Especially with a beautiful girl with a beautiful voice, it could be very challenging. I can imagine.
Like very, very challenging.
Like recently, as in our country, this sadness, this horrible news about the killings, the physical abuse that we are much aware of on a daily basis, unfortunately. But now it's only the Zamo Dlamini's incident that has awakened up the reality.
People. Yes.
And so many people are coming out to say, I'm aware of this. It happened with me. Personally, I have experienced it with my family. I grew up, you know, but then now you are brave enough to say, I've seen it happening. I do have a story to tell.
And I want to talk about
it. I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I would love for us to actually just go through that.
You know, I think the reason that I'm smiling so much is because when I think about it, I think of how God has carried me through, such that in 9 years ago, I didn't think that I'd be sitting here smiling with you and having tea with you and actually being so blessed and alive, you know?
Yes.
So it happened that when I was 17 years old, straight out of high school, I met a guy. You know how they are.
You know how they are.
Heaven and earth, you know? And you believe them. Because we actually believe them. Especially because they know when you're vulnerable.
Exactly.
They can sense it, that this one is a vulnerable one. you know.
Wow.
And I had my father absent. I had my brother. My brother was not a cuddly, feely person.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It was almost like it's a girl's house. I went to a girl's school. What do I know, you know,
Wow.
about men? So like it goes back to me always saying to people.
So there is this
space. Tell your sisters you love them.
Wow.
Tell your daughter, I love you. You mean the world to me. You are beautiful.
Wow.
Because if you don't, somebody else is going to tell them.
going to take over.
And when that somebody comes, they're going to bring so much love because they
are feeling the space that has been lacking,
you know what I'm saying?
This while. Yeah.
Yes. So now I was in a relationship with him. When I was 18, I had his daughter.
Wow.
The whole time, the whole pregnancy, he was not there. He was absent. Giving birth, I was alone. Having the child, when he came back, when the child was there, he said, I want to work things out, da 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 da. And I believed him again. You know, and you know, that's the thing about when someone takes you for granted. It's almost like how they say abuse is a chain. It starts with the smaller things, then it escalates and it gets bigger.
It doesn't just start up there.
No, it doesn't just start with somebody stabbing you with a knife. It starts with somebody lying to you, deceiving you, calling you names, telling you you're not beautiful. Because you know what? There was a point where he was hitting me and I'd say because you're beautiful.
Wow.
And I used to ask myself, why am I being beaten up because I'm beautiful?
Yeah.
He would say, no, because you're beautiful.
Bazokubona abanye.
Yeah. Or sometimes I would take him to events because already at the time I was already in the music industry, winning awards in Swaziland, doing this and that, releasing an album and whatever. Hugging guys. If I were to hug a guy at an event,
oh my, I can imagine.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Imagine.
It was terrible, you know?
Yeah.
But I think the last straw for me was when he was working here in Joburg and our daughter was in Swaziland and I was also here. He almost threw me over a balcony because now it's a thing of him just waiting for me to get home. If I was working or whatever it is I was doing, he had a music way. You know, and I always say to women, do not be with someone who does not support what you do. Because he's going to tell you, hi, this music thing, hi, this entertainment thing.
Yeah.
And then what am I supposed to do? Because I'm passionate about this. Never ever compromise.
And he found you
doing it.
Exactly.
But he didn't think of that. To him, it was about him. It was about his complex, you know, that was now coming out as violence, as abuse, as, you know, whatever it is. But I'm so glad and I thank God that I left that situation.
Hi, I'm Pearl 2C, the real Black Pearl, and you are watching Ritevac TV.
What's up, guys? This is Nomzamo Dlamini, and you're watching Ritevac TV.
You are still with us at Tea, Talk and Tissues, and you are still in my kitchen tonight. We are sitting with the gorgeous Nomzamo Dlamini, and she is sharing a powerful story. Nomzamo, tell me about the support structure at that time. Was there anybody? Did you tell anyone about it? The support structure? What made you to decide to actually say, this is not my life. I am moving on from point one to another.
My mother knew, you know, because I was very close with my mother. So my mother knew. I would tell her that this and this is going on. This is going on. When my mother saw me, she cried. She cried. That was like the second time seeing my mother cry. My mother was a very strong woman.
Yeah.
She cried. She said, Nomzamo, do me one favor. I said, what? She said, don't come back with Dombuleka. Just do me that favor. Whatever you do, I see love, I see the child. Whatever you do, just don't come back a corpse in this home.
I'm reminded of how as Africans, not just South Africans, we have taken tradition and values of traditions. They are some of the traditions that we think they are working for us, whereas they are no longer working for us. They are binding us in these brutal situations. In your case, I am sensing that it was the tradition of, I need to protect my child's father. You understand? And then moving forward, your mother knew about it. But now, when we move forward, we see your mother making that decision for you.
Yes.
Ukuthi, don't come back. So your mother came to rescue on that day when immediately she said, don't come back a corpse, because she knew exactly where were you going, the path that you were taking, that you will end up dead when you came back that particular night, that particular morning, I mean to say. So now, tell me, the breaking up, when you have to deliver the news that you no longer want to be part of this relationship, how did he receive the news? Like the guy that you were with at that time?
I'm not going to lie to you, Sis Ayanda. It was an SMS. I was not going to do it right in his face.
Yeah,
I was not going to do it. I was not going to do it because I knew of what he was capable of.
You know what, Zamo, when you talk about this, I just remember when I was growing up, I made that decision because around me, I saw so much similar situation. As a matter of fact, my mom and my dad, they had that physical fight in front of us. So I made that decision that I will never be involved with someone who will ever lay a hand on me. So the importance now, you gave birth to 2 gorgeous daughters.
Yes.
The importance of protecting our children from witnessing such brutality around us. Not just daughters, even the boys, because unfortunately we can protect our girl kids, but how about our boy kids? Are they not going to grow up and repeating the same thing?
It becomes a cycle.
Yeah.
Becomes a cycle, you know? Because if I saw you doing it to my mother, then it means it's right. I must do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No one steps in and says, I will take the children. You guys sort your issues out. The children must not see this. Most families just say, Bakalil.
And it becomes a norm.
It becomes a norm. It becomes almost acceptable.
Acceptable. It becomes acceptable. Now, when we come back from the break, I want us to go deeper to the most reasons why do families have the tendency to actually accept violence? Why do our parents, why do women around us or people around us tend to hide us in the name of protection? When we come back.
People say on Thursdays, it's Throwback Thursdays. TBT, for me, means thoughts become things. What you think, what you say, what you act is what becomes. But it can't become if you don't put in work. So you gotta act, which is ACT. Action changes things. They call me Smoother, DJ Smooth, and I'm really, really proud to be on this awesome channel platform, which is gonna take the industry by storm very soon. It's Ritevac TV. You can even tell, Noma Nkuluma, Nyabibi Tag. Ritevac TV, more fire. Abash.
Well, as they always say, Kurafu. Indeed, Kurafu langaphandle. But what I can tell you is that here at Tea Talk and Tissues, we always come up with these solutions for your problems. Today, as I promised you, we will have that professional view from the topic yanamhlanje. And in my kitchen, I am sipping coffee with Mrs. Ncazelo Mlilo. Wow, ngiyabonga ma. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Before we go further, what do you do? Because I've read your profile, that you are, there's very few of the people who do what you do. Tell me about your profession.
Okay. I'm a psychosocial specialist,
yes.
And I have studied extensively around how to help people to heal from different traumas and people to recover from difficult situations that they face in life. I studied narrative therapy, and basically this is a field of counseling that involves working with people's stories and narratives about their lives to help them to find healing within the context of those stories. And so that is what I've specialized in, and I use that approach in my work with families, with women, with children, with different communities. And I work locally. I also do a lot of work internationally.
Beautiful. Yeah. My jaw just dropped because I am using my work to escape from my personal pain. But that is after the show. So today we were sitting with a lady, Nomzamo Dlamini, and she spoke about her story, and she has come out from her situation, or from her predicament. What is it that makes someone to make that decision to say, I want to come out from this situation? Is it a decision, or do we need people like you to guide us? How do I know if I need professional help? Personally, the pain that I am personally going through, I don't know if I need a person or somebody to guide me through it, or is it fine if I use other things to actually help me to actually calm down the pain? So the question is here, in the midst of the pain, how do I know and I identify that I'm still drowning in pain or in the situation?
I think the dilemma that we face is that a lot of the abuse and the hardships that people go through, and particularly women, is that it's very isolating.
Yeah.
And also it's filled with a lot of shame, it's filled with a lot of guilt. And this is also linked to the sense of failure, because obviously we come from a society that really holds relationships, being married and having a partner in high regard. And so when women are in those situations, most of the times, they feel that it is a shame to admit that you are being abused, or that your relationship is not working out, because it might be regarded as I'm saying, a failure. Yeah. And so a lot of people who go through a lot of trauma and hard times suffer from that. And as a result, they become trapped in that situation. They find it difficult to tell someone or to talk to someone about it. And that is also how trauma affects us. Yeah. But I think it is really about an individual coming to a point where they realize they are struggling, and being open to themselves. And it may not start by approaching a professional. It could be approaching a friend, a mother who will listen, a sister or a neighbor. But it is always very important to reach out to someone, because it is only through reaching out to others that perhaps we can get supported and begin to see things differently. And I think that is the first step. And it's when we take the first step that the other steps become possible, where you can reach out, to a professional psychologist or therapist. So I think it's really going beyond, that sense that I have failed, and realizing that this thing is bigger than me, and it's not about me. It's not a reflection on who I am as a woman or as a person.
How long does it take, though, the healing process? Realistically, let's say I've started to go through this process of seeing a psychologist. How long is the process?
The healing process differs for individuals. Cool. Because people's experiences are very diverse. Yeah. And they're also very complex. And one person being abused in that corner may have a totally different reality from the next person. And so it is really dependent on whether the person is feeling that I am able to cope on my own. But I always argue that it is about helping people get to a point where they realize that their lives are not defined by their relationships. I think this is a problem that we face as women, where you begin to define yourself, or your identity is seen in the context of your partner or that other person in your life, and you feel without him you cannot be. And so as a narrative therapist, one of the things that we are preoccupied with in our work is helping people to understand that their lives are bigger, and that they are bigger people, than what they understand themselves to be.
Wow.
And I think once people begin to understand themselves and just how big a territory of identity they occupy, I think they can really begin to see that there are options and that they do not have to be trapped or stuck in relationships that are not necessarily working for them.
Now, somebody is being abused and they have gone through the process, the healing process. Does it really go away?
I do believe that people do heal.
Completely?
I think we do heal. It's about, do we remember?
Yeah.
I think we may not forget some of these experiences, but what is important is when I recall and remember, you don't want it to be as painful as it was when I started off.
Of course.
But right now I can be remembering and using that experience to grow me, to grow others. You see, that's a different place where you'll be standing.
I get you.
To say, I may not have totally
Fully
erased
understood.
the memory,
Yeah.
but my recovery is about saying, what can I learn from that?
From the
What can I take away from it? And how can I use it to develop me as a person, but also to share with, you know, the person next to me? And then we are saying we are healing and we are recovering in a way.
Wow. So where would you suggest that someone who's going through what we are talking about can actually run to?
What I would advise is, you know, your social workers, the Department of Social Development has got a department that deals with the gender issues.
Okay.
And it is through the department at local level that if you find it, walk in there and look for a local social worker who can refer you to several organizations that work in communities that also exist to deal with issues of abuse and provide counseling and psychosocial help. We have a lot of women's shelters. There are a lot of shelters that exist in some communities where women can go temporarily to find refuge for themselves and their children if, you know, the home becomes unbearable and unsafe. You know, we run an organization that is called Paula, which, you know, is really about facilitating healing and helping
Where are the
women.
Paula offices? Where do I reach out to you? Should I need to Paula?
Okay. With Paula is we run a mobile counseling services, you know, so we come to you.
Oh,
so
beautiful.
if we know that, you know, there are people in a certain community, a certain location that require our services, we would come and provide the counseling there.
Yeah.
I can provide a number that people could call so that we could make arrangements to provide the support and the counseling, you know, related to the work that we do at Paula.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much for making time to sit with us in the kitchen today. Paula is available to you whenever you need help. Should your community not giving you enough help, should the place where you are expecting to get help from, they do not give you the help that you require, we do have izinhlangano ezifana no Paula organizations and many others. You can Google them. But as for Paula, you will get them on the screens. The number is going to be on your screens. You can contact them should you know someone or you are the one going through a similar situation.
Africa's #1 online TV channel, Ritevac TV.